They got to do over the summer developing, getting ready for fall camp.
Yeah, we don't stop developing in the summer. Now that transitions to them a lot, but we obviously lay out a plan for them to follow, and where they can review all of our plays and schemes and keep their mind in football a couple days a week. And for the most part, I think that's what they did. Obviously, I don't monitor that. I'm not allowed to, but I know the times that I was in the office, here and there, I'd see the guys around and maybe talking about different kind of schemes and things that they were getting ready for the season, reviewing. And so I just think that level of excitement is really high with the guys, and that's transitioned into a high level of preparation for them.
Did you look at the spring at all and decide to move anybody around or come up with any kind of we're going to play with this a little bit heading into the fall, make it look a little different this spring?
I think the biggest thing is we have Bobby Haskins getting out here for his first work with us, coming off the injury from last year. So we'll see where he fits and how he fits, but he's obviously played a lot of football in Virginia and been a good player at this level. And so we just got to kind of see where he fits in and if he can make us better in any areas, and then we'll adjust from there.
What was the recruiting process like with Cooper Lovelace when you guys brought him back?
Yeah, short, very fast and hectic. Cooper is a very talented kid. He's pretty new to football. He's only been playing for about 3 years. Man, it was just, there was a lot of opportunities coming at him in a short space of time, and so it was just trying to get him here on the campus so that we could see if this is where he wanted to be. So fortunately, we were able to do that.
Do you expect him to play guard for you, or what position?
Yeah, he played tackle there at Butler Junior College, but probably size-wise, length-wise, he's more of an interior guy. And so we'll kind of see where that's at. He's kind of one of those interesting guys. He's probably right at that point where he could probably play any position. Obviously, we're always trying to build center depth, so we'll have him working some center. But from there, I think it's just getting him on the field and seeing where the skill set fits best for this season in Memphis.
We talked during the spring a lot about how important it was to get him in the fold with that chart.
Yeah, I mean, there's the old saying that you're only as good as your backup players. And that in I don't know 22 years I've probably been through. And this is, I haven't counted this, but I would just guess off the top of my head 4 or 5 seasons where you went the entire year and someone didn't play any offensive line. It wasn't a backup, but there weren't injuries. So that's just always imperative to be building that depth constantly. So getting Cooper here was obviously a needed add, and and then we're doing that for the future too right now, recruiting, and then there'll be more of it after this year. But right now it's 2022, and it's all kind of about this season, and the guys that we have currently on our roster right now, the guys that we got to get ready to go in the game and perform if we do have injuries.
Max Gibbs will run the second team in the spring, and not on the roster. Who does that open the door for?
Yeah, I think there's several guys there. I think one guy that had a really good spring, in my opinion, and was kind of surprised me that his level of play was Gino Canonis. I thought he did a very nice job. I think it opens the doors for guys like Andrew Millett. Not only at the center position, but the backup guard position. I think Jason Rodriguez, those interior guys that have been setting in that second group, that's who, and Andres Stewart, and then obviously there's Cooper. So those are the guys that we'll be looking to see if we can start to build depth and find a quality replacement should we face adversity there.
You've worked with some great head coaches in your career. What are some of the similarities or some of the consistencies that you see from
Well, first of all, just detail and organization and a daily passion and desire to do things better all across the organization. So he's very similar to Coach Pinkel in that stance, that he will come in and have a lot of very unique thoughts, and he's way more observant than you might think at first. He's kind of going and doing his thing, but he observes and notices a lot of little things inside the program, and so he's just got a constant drive and passion to constantly improve our program in every area of it. His every personality is different for every head coach I've worked for. I've really enjoyed the competitive side of Coach Riley. He's a very, very nice person, but he's also a very competitive person. You get on the field, man, he loves to compete. He loves coaching and watching our players be successful, and it's fun. He gets excited, he gets passionate about it, he gets fired up about it, and that part of his personality has been fun to get to know.
And you see some head coaches, and they're almost like strictly football. They don't say the word organization; they just say team. What kind of approach are you guys taking to really top all the way down to the maybe least important or least significant aspect of a football organization or program? How has he taken that approach, and how?
Yeah, I think the big thing daily is just that every detail matters. There's nothing that's not important, and so he's trying to cover every basis that he possibly can. And then I think one of the best things I've seen Coach do is he does accountability within our program from the top down. He's the guy that goes out and says, hey, we missed this class, or we're late to this assignment, or whatever it might be. And each week we gather as a team and we do accountability. So, that's something that I've really enjoyed with Coach, and I think it gives your players confidence in a program that's not just talk, but it's actually a real change.
You, with him, maybe more than any other coach, need to kind of be inside his brain, right? Offensive philosophy and systems. But the players kind of have an off-season homework. What did you do, I guess, to develop that relationship with him and again, understand that system and what he's thinking?
Yeah, I think more than anything, I just tried to, over the summertime, spend some time studying him, just watch games, how he called plays, and the plays that he went to. And I know that those are all specific to personnel at certain times, who does things well, who doesn't. But they're also system related a lot, and they're personality related a lot. And so I just try to spend some time just kind of watching him call games, and just spend some time just getting a feel for the flow of how the plays that he's calling. And so, but that's going to be an ongoing process, but so far he knows what he likes to do, and he's very set on his ideas, his beliefs, and those kind of things. Not that he doesn't do new things, because he has done new things since we've been here, but he knows the ins and outs of this offense. He's been running at a very high level at this level of football for 10 years or so. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we have a chance to be very explosive on offense and be very good.
From a recruiting perspective, there's kind of a growing perception that California lacks offensive linemen and big bodies. What have you learned about the state and recruiting in the 2 months you've been here?
Well, I look around the state. There's a lot of big bodies. I mean, there's recruiting wise, I don't think that there's a shortage of offensive linemen in the state. There's even some kids that we haven't offered that I think are really good players, and it may take them a little longer to develop, and that's what we're trying to figure out as coaches when we recruit guys. But I think they're certainly going to be there someday. So I've not been, whatever that narrative is, I've not seen it personally. Are we having 2 great years in recruiting, in the 23 and 24 class? I don't know. I don't know if that's abnormal, that there's more linemen than not, but just as far as getting here and kind of getting feet on the ground and looking at all the kids around this part of the world from an offensive line standpoint, they feel just like the kids I was recruiting the last stop I was at, the stop before that. So.
You guys have a strength on offense with all the talent here?
Well, I think the deepest position at this point would probably be the wide receiver position. Certainly, we have a lot of options there and a lot of very talented guys and very explosive. So I thought after the springtime, I thought we had plenty of weapons to get the job done at that spot. So that to me is probably where you'd say is our deepest position on the offense.
As the offensive coordinator, what was your reaction when you realized you found out Jordan Addison was coming here?
Happy? Fired up, just like all the other SC fans. I mean, again, it's such a strange, it's such a new thing. I was trying to think. I mean, even other than Caleb, I don't know another time in my career that we've had a guy transfer into our program. I'm like, wow, is that proven of a talented player at this level? So. What can you say? I mean, that's exciting, right? The guy's he's a very talented player from everything I've heard, that he's worked extremely hard to integrate himself into the team. And I think that's the challenge, as you move forward. And all these years, you got a bunch of people that haven't been together and getting everybody's personalities together and getting team buy-in. When you look through the NFL, that's what we kind of talked about. The teams that win in the NFL are certainly talented. We all know that they usually have a really good quarterback and they have some really good players at other key positions. But teams that win Super Bowls, you always, the storyline is always the same. It's always about the buy-in, the sacrifice, the team spirit, the unity, all those things that are team. That you're trying to build in your culture is what helped them really make the difference when it came down to, the inches in that league, the very small amounts of separation between winning and losing. And that's what our challenge is going to be here with all these new guys that haven't been together before this upcoming season.
You have a veteran group. A lot of the guys here have been here a long time. I think you talked in the spring about it's still, there was a learning curve for the calls and everything of what the offensive line. How do you feel like those guys from the spring to now have kind of picked it up and they know the playbook and everything?
Yeah, I think they've done a great job just continuing to press through through the summer, and not letting, not going, oh, it's just a summer and I just run and lift. They've kept their minds in football, and they're excited about their opportunity. I think more than anything too, they're kind of hungry. They came to USC to play a certain brand of football and to win, be on winning teams, and the thing I like about the guys in the room, that bothers them that they haven't been able to. The program hasn't been where we all want it to be, and so they're hungry to get it back there, and they understand the if you want to change something, the first prerequisite for that is to work harder, and they worked really hard.
How did the spring film maybe kind of drive or direct what you want to get done over the next 24 practices?
Yeah, it always does. I mean, we go back and review it, and we made a lot of notes. Again, coach's detail of going through everything in our organization is the same way on offense. We're going to go through every single play. We're going to make notes. We're going to write them up. We're going to go into with a plan in the fall of what we've got to polish up, change, get better at, whatever that might be to better spring. So for us up front, that's a lot of things it's a lot of things that are boring, right? It's like, hey man, our steps are they're 2 inches too wide on outside zone, or they're not wide enough, or our hand placement, or we got to start teaching guys to use their hands certain ways, or our double teams getting our hips in conjunction with each other. So it's all those kind of little things that we make notes of. We make cut-ups of when it was done right, and cut-ups when it was done wrong, and then we go into the fall and emphasize all those things. So it's really a lot more technique than it is scheme.
So yeah, that's what I would say. You have technique, physicality, cohesion. What's the triage there? Where do you think you guys are furthest along, and where do you think would you like to see the most?
I think this crew's pretty good at cohesion right now, just operating and communicating and everybody being on the same page. I thought they operated really well during the springtime, probably better than I thought that they would. Technique, we need some work still. We're a work in progress. You always are, but I think overall we certainly need to raise the level of the consistency of our execution. And what was the third part of it? Physicality. Yeah, that's the most important part.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one. I actually I have a big three basically for fall camp the next 2 weeks that I want. That I think we've got to accomplish if we want to go to being at elite level, and number one on that is strain, finish, physicality, just playing an elite level of effort.
Sometimes you inherit a 4-man team, and it's almost kind of like you're inheriting wounded puppies, right? You have to kind of build them back up. Was this a team that, and collective players that you thought you had to build back up, or were they still up?
I don't know. It was funny. I was thinking about that a couple days ago. Like, I think we did it. I can't tell you that we were super intentional about it. We were just like about that process. Oh, we got to build these guys back up. I think more than anything, we were like, hey, this is what we believe it takes to win. This is kind of where we're at. This is where we got to go. If you want to win, there's a price to pay, and if you're willing to pay that price, you'll get there, and you'll get better, and we'll get better as a team, and we'll go win. And so I think more than anything, that's kind of been our approach through the springtime. That the standard's a standard. This is what it takes to win. And like I said, the guys have been very eager to embrace that.
During your own kind of off-season film study of Coach Riley and his offense, like, just what did you learn as a coach? I mean, we know obviously his offenses are very celebrated, they score a lot of points, but from kind of the X's and O's standpoint, like what impressed you the most as you were studying?
Yeah, from X's and O's standpoint, I think he just does. I think he does two things. One, I would probably say that. To the fact that, you look at Coach Riley and you think about the quarterbacks that he's coached in the first round, the overall number one draft picks and Heisman Trophy winners, he loves to run the football. And I didn't realize that their running stats, and I competed against them at the school in their state, for 3 years. I did not realize their running stats were as good as they are or were at Oklahoma. But so he loves to run the ball. He loves talking about running game. He loves being physical. He wants to have that ability as a play caller and offensive coordinator that, he can line up and start running the ball to win the game at any given time. He wants to have that physicality to him. But I think the other thing that he does a great job of is he is not afraid. He doesn't do anything out of fear. Like, that's what I love about him. Like, he's not, what bad things could happen with this play? He's like, no, what if we hit it? It's always, that's like kind of always his thought process and just his personality. And he tells us that all the time. We're not going to operate out of fear. We're gonna coach hard. We're gonna execute excellent, and we're gonna go for it. And so when you watch him, just getting guys open down the field for big explosive plays in a passing game and creating explosive plays in passing game, I think it's just something that really, really sticks out. And it's part of his personality. He's aggressive with that.
You talked about kind of just his competitive nature. Like, does that come out in other ways? Like, you guys play board games or something? Like flipping over the table? Like, does that bleed over?
Oh yeah, I've kind of noticed that about him. Like, recruiting events like a game of cornhole or whatever. I mean, it's like he's drawn to it. It's like he's in there. He's like, hey, let's go. And he starts, hey, come on, let's play. So he just loves to compete. Yeah, so you see it kind of everywhere. He kind of lights up when the competition gets going. Yeah.
Who's the best cornhole player on the staff?
Oh, I don't even know. I know it's not me.
You mentioned fitting Bobby Haskins in, and potentially that gives you more than 5 guys capable of starting. What's your philosophy on kind of carrying that and shuffling guys in, or do you like to have a 5 and those are our guys?
You know, when I was young, it was always just kind of, hey, we get our starting 5, and that's where we go. When I started coaching for Gary Pinkel at Missouri, he really liked to play. If you had a group of backup players, and that might be 2 or 3 guys. The most we ever did this was with 3 guys, but all 3 of those guys end up starting in the NFL. When they were young, we had a crew kind of like this senior crew we got. They were really good operators. They played really well together. They were smart. They knew how to play. So these guys weren't as good as them, but they were getting close, and they were really talented. And so that year, you know, we played 3 guys. We would kind of set out series of the game, 2 or 3 series a game. And once we told him, we were doing it. And that was kind of his thing. Like, we're not going to tell him and then back out of it. The only thing he told him was the last series of the game, or the last one, if the game was in question, we reserved the right to leave the ones in during that last series we had set out for him. But man, we did it that year. All those kids played a couple hundred snaps over the season. I really enjoyed it. I thought it had a lot of residual effects, meaning we had more than 5 guys truly preparing to go in a game that week. So there was a lot of learning going on. And we usually gave them 2 series. So those 2 series they got in there, man, they played hard. And it was kind of fun to watch. So yeah, I've done that too. To me, that just all boils down to how many guys do you have that are operating at a championship level. But if I got guys that are operating championship level, I mean, I got no problem playing more than 5.
Coach, you brought in Bobby, but you know, from at least my perspective, there haven't been a ton of offensive linemen in the transfer portal just compared to some other positions. What keeps maybe an offensive lineman from not deciding to leave and just looking for the next best thing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know, but yeah, I would say yes to that. Just kind of overall, I don't really know the exact numbers on that, but it feels that way. What you said, I would say probably development. You know, I know that there's so many little things in the O-line that it takes to get good at, you know, and maybe going in and learning a new system, new terminology, you know, what we all do is all pretty similar, but, you know, learning a new coach, a new system, new terminology might deter some guys. Although I don't think it's that hard, but I mean, that's the only thing I can guess. And, you know, a lot of times, I think it's just the nature of the position. Most O-linemen are just kind of like big loyal dogs, you know. I mean, we're just kind of, once we're comfortable doing something, we just don't like to move a lot, you know. So we just kind of like keep things the way they are because we know how to do it, and that eliminates anxiety, you know. So maybe that's part of it. It's just the personality of the guys that play that position. But I think it'll be like anything else. You'll see probably a little more of it as time moves along. I think a lot of the kids in the portal this year for us, offensive line-wise, felt like our top crew was pretty good, and that was kind of the word on the street. And, you know, so I think that's part of it too. You know, just going to a new group can be kind of unsettling. You know, new group of friends, new group of guys that you're going to battling with. You know, so I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it is or isn't. I do know that our position is kind of unique, along with the defensive line, because we make contact with people every play, you know. And so, you know, probably, you know, I've always felt like it was easier for a younger wide receiver to play before a younger O-lineman, just because the physical difference between a 21-year-old man and a 17-year-old kid, it gets exposed in our world really fast. Not so much in the other world. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.
We got time for just like 2 more